Hello, this is Daisy Joy at Adventure Acres, and you may notice that I am missing a certain accessory right now because it would seem that one of my lenses has gone AWOL, and so that's not particularly helpful to wear my glasses right now because the right lens is the one that I need. That's so typical. if I was gonna lose a lens, if I had my right one, I would probably still wear them even without the other lens because that's the one I need. That's the eye that I'm having the problems with. So there won't be any glasses in this particular video. Anyway, it's been quite an interesting roller coaster the past week and a half, almost 2 weeks. Almost 2 weeks. And so I thought I would kind of share a little bit about that. You know, everybody else is all gone to bed, and this is kind of my processing time of the day where I kind of try to make sense of things. And so here I am sitting here on the sofa and trying to just process. And I thought, I can kind of include all y'all in the process of processing and kind of share what's been going on for the last little bit here. A couple of Wednesdays ago, I went to town at my mom's house. We were having coffee with an old friend she's not old, man. She's with a dear friend. How about that? With a special, awesome friend. We had coffee, and it was really nice. We got to sit and visit and catch up, and it was a very pleasant morning, and my dad was starting a new job, and so I was excited to hear how things were going. So I kind of stuck around so I could chat with him when he came home for lunch break. And then I was planning on coming right home. But shortly after my dad finished his lunch and went on his way, I was sitting there with my mom kind of wrapping, finishing our conversation, and I felt this sort of mean pinching pain in my left ankle. And as a little bit of background, I have a crocodile rash on my left ankle. That's my terminology for it. There's not actually been a definitive diagnosis for it. The closest thing that they've come up with is that it's a plaque psoriasis type rash, but they haven't diagnosed it as that because they suspect that it's autoimmune related, probably linked to the multiple sclerosis. So, I've had this rash for 6 years, since 2012. I've had this rash longer than I've had Little Farmer Boy. It's become just part of my life, and I've never been embarrassed by it, but I have felt very self-conscious about it sometimes. It's one of those things where I have no embarrassment about it. It's not like I did anything to cause it, or that I haven't done anything to try to get rid of it. But, I don't want to make other people feel uncomfortable about it. I don't want them to think that I have some sort of raging leprosy that they're going to catch, or, I don't want to make anyone else feel awkward. I'm fine with it. If people would ask me questions about it, I would talk candidly with them, and it's just kind of part of my life. And I've gone to dermatologists and I've done so many different types of treatments for it, and nothing even really put a dent in it, except for one time they put me on a steroidal infusion treatment. And man, is that stuff rough. And as a fun perk, usually when you have side effects, they're bad. At least in my experience. Usually when I have side effects, they're bad. But that was a good side effect for me, is that because I had it in both ankles and all the way up to almost my knee on my left leg, and it pulled the infection back, kind of pulled the reins back, and my right ankle was cured, and it went all the way down back to my ankle and, wasn't on my shin anymore. And so even though I've had this obnoxious rash for 6 years, I kind of still felt a little bit of victory from it, because I mean, on my right foot I have scars because it's such a mean thing, but I still was able to, kick it on the right side at least. It's kind of a reminder that I have hope for the left foot and my ankle there. But anyway, so this rash has been there for quite some time, and it's kind of just the annoying thing in the background, and you don't think much about it, but unfortunately it left me open to an infection, which also unfortunately was a potentially very serious kind of infection. And it was hard, because one of the things that is kind of tricky about MS is that I have a weird relationship with pain. And I think maybe, emotionally it has been a little hard this week, and I've kind of struggled with why am I feeling so put off, or off put, or out of sorts. And I think part of it is that I've had so much, I've had issues with pain so much in the past years, so I've become familiar with it. It's kind of like that smoke alarm that you have that beeps all the time, and you don't really think about it. You think, oh, it's no big deal, and it goes off all the time. But then realizing that there's smoke, that there actually is smoke, there's a fire, and that it's not just a noise, it's something that's real, and it's telling you something's wrong. I've kind of had to really come to terms with that. It's not something that normal people think about, but it's it's one of fun quirks of having MS, I guess. So this infection is normally something, I keep using the word normally, and the line that my mom says all the time comes to mind, is that normalcy is overrated. And I am her daughter, so I don't really consider myself very normal for the most part, but with the whole MS thing, it definitely just kicks normalcy out the window. But commonly, people with this fun infection take antibiotics, and it's all fine. It gets better if you catch it early enough and get on antibiotics. It's not that big of a deal usually. Unfortunately, in my case, my immune system is a flippin' lemon of a wonky, stupid immune system. Facepalm. So, my immune system is not like the James Bond, like I see the enemy and I just sight it and there, I've taken it out. My immune system is like the idiot with the machine gun that just shoots everything and just boom, 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 and good guys, bad guys, just random passers-by. My immune system is just not helpful. And so, the past couple of times that I've been on antibiotics, my immune system identified the antibiotics as the bad guy. And that's what allergies are. It's when your immune system says, you over there, you look suspicious, and so I'm going to attack you. And it's when your immune system identifies benign things, or even helpful things, like medications or random food groups, and says, oh no, that's a bad guy. I've got to take it out. So I have eliminated 2 of the 5 antibiotic categories because my immune system decided to designate them as allergens. Which is not good, because the common antibiotics are the ones that people usually get because they're more pleasant. They have fewer side effects. So that means that the categories of antibiotics I can take are usually a little ornerier with potential side effects, which is kind of, I don't like to be on antibiotics anyway, and so I usually try to keep in good health to avoid that, but in my case, it's kind of a necessary evil because this sort of an infection is not one that you can dink around with. It has to be dealt with swiftly. Cellulitis is, unfortunately, you can develop it can spread to the bloodstream, and it can get to your lymph nodes, and it can become pretty dangerous and possibly even fatal. And of course, it did not help. I was in a, MS support group, and I was mentioning the situation, and somebody's just like, oh yeah, so-and-so who also has MS had this infection, and they lost their foot. And I'm thinking, thanks, that's really helpful. What do you say to something like that? Like, oh, that's really comforting. Thanks. I'm really looking forward to having a pig leg. No, I don't know if that's just, I guess they're just trying to, but they survived. Like, okay, that's really encouraging. Thanks. No. So then, of course, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, that it was supposed to be this triumphant tale of, they fought this and they were able to come out of it with their life, and they're living a very full and rich life and run marathons. And I'm thinking, I could lose my leg. Nobody told me about that. I don't want to lose my leg. And I was, but at the same time, I was also like, I've already got the eye patch. I've had it in one of the previous videos. So, like, I'm halfway to being a pirate already, so I make light because otherwise I would just cry. So, yeah, and so the idea of losing a limb or losing my life, I've had to deal with all of this past week and a half. This is a lot of stuff to just face. And on top of that, it has been gorgeous outside and so nice. It's sunshine and just beautiful weather, and I've had to sit with my foot up because it was angry and red and swollen and pain. I was walking, when I could walk, I was walking with a cane. When I was at the clinic, they used a wheelchair for me. So this, I tease and I make light, but this was a pretty serious and annoying chapter for me. And it was hard. When they're wheeling me in the clinic so that I don't have to hobble with my cane, it's kind of face the possibilities moment. And I've come to peace with whatever will be, and I will not worry about things that haven't been yet. I'm dealing with what is in front of me right now and not adding more to the plate than I need to. And I have found that to be a good strategy, because if I go through all the what ifs, I will drive myself crazy. There's a whole lot of what ifs when your brain could attack any part of your brain, or your immune system could attack any function in your body. What if I go blind, and what if I can't walk, and what if I can't sing, which actually happened. Took my voice away, literally. And so I try not to do the what if game, but it was kind of more in my face this week, and so I tried not to dig too deep into that. But I did get a little bit discouraged because there's so many things I wanted to do, and so I did give myself like 15 minutes when I was supposed to be putting my foot up and behaving. I gave myself 15 minutes to go around the farmstead and make a list of things that I was going to look forward to once I was better. Now, I have taken my last antibiotic finally yesterday, and tomorrow I go to my follow-up and I will find out if I get the all clear, because I have stuff that I'm excited about doing, because I have been looking forward to it for the past 12 days sitting on the sofa. So I'm excited to get the report tomorrow, and I'm hoping everything's all good, and that when I come back tomorrow, I will have a good report for you guys, and I will tell you then what sort of things I'm plotting ahead toward. So here's hoping and praying and and hanging in there in the meantime. Meanwhile, I'm off to bed, get some rest. It's gonna be an interesting day tomorrow. So this is Daisy signing off for now.